Hello, my friends. This is another preview to a bonus episode that we do over on the Patreon feed. And so, with these bonus episodes, I like to go back to former guests and just catch up with them based on what we talked about on their show and see if things have changed a little bit. Maybe they had some feedback from people that they didn't expect, or maybe they just learned something new about themselves by sharing the story. And so, in this clip, I wanted to share just a little piece of the latest conversation that I had. If you're interested in checking out the full bonus episodes, you can head over to the Patreon page, which is www.thelifeshiftpodcast.com/join. And there is a special tier that gets you ad-free episodes, early release episodes, and the bonus episodes. Come on over, check out the Patreon community, and see how you can support the show if you're interested. But without further ado, here's a preview of the latest bonus episode. How did you feel once we stopped recording? Like we had the conversation. We didn't really know each other. We had interacted a little bit on Twitter, and then we came in and you shared a really deep personal story. How did you feel after we stopped recording?
It was one of the first ones that I felt like I didn't get real graphic. So I had been on others, and it seems like almost some people really like that shock value, and you didn't seem to be that way. You wanted more of like, you could tell the story and you could really get a real good idea of the story without getting really kind of gross and graphic. And so it was one of the first ones that I thought, this is one that I might be able to share with my kids, or other people, friends or whatever, that it just seemed to be a little more smooth and on level, you know what I mean? It didn't go way off. I don't know how to explain that, but yeah, it just didn't get so graphic, discussing abuse or anything.
I don't know that was intentional on either of our sides. I think we were really having the conversation about, to remind people your story. We essentially said that you buying a bus ticket basically saved your life and got you out of suicidal feelings and abuse and toxic relationships and struggling hardcore, and really turned your life around. And so in that conversation, I think our goal was really like, look what's possible.
Right.
Look how we can reflect on such terrible, no one should ever go through these times, but also look how I've evolved.
Right.
Look how it's possible. And I think that's probably why we didn't go down those graphic pieces, because we were focused on who you are now and how those moments made you who you are now.
Yeah. And another thing that you had mentioned, and you were the first one to mention this, and now whenever I see myself on others, I notice it too, but how you said that you can tell from my expressions and the way I talked about my past compared to my life now, that it's just, you could tell from looking at me the difference in my life and how I talk about it.
The level of your voice too.
Yeah.
The way, like, I feel like it almost is the dark and the light. I feel like when you tell your story of your upbringing and the situations you were in your early life, and then your marriages and all the pieces that came along with that, it felt very dark because it was, but the way you delivered it was also very, like the sound of your everything was dark about it. And as soon as we started talking about current day, Pamela, like, and what you do and the joy that you find in the things around you and the things that you're creating, there's a higher pitch. There's just more joy behind it. And so, that's awesome, but it's also awesome that you didn't even realize you were doing that, because I think it says a lot too.
Yeah. And I love that you mentioned it, because now I notice it and it's just like, well, yeah, of course. But it's kind of fun to see.